A lot of restaurateurs or business owners, what they can lack is one could be excellent as a chef, but
Yeah.
terrible as back office and running the business. And one could be a money guy and know exactly how to pay the bills and invest and do what they need to do and watch that bottom number, but they can't even boil an egg. I have the best of both worlds where I cooked. I went to culinary school. I learned it growing up. I had a passion for it, and that's what I did first. And then I got all my real life, learning from working in corporate America. And I was lucky enough to bring those two together and understand how to treat employees, understand how to run a business because I was that employee, but
Yeah.
understand how I need to grow that business and what things I got to do and not do at the same times.
There we go. Welcome back to the Pizza King podcast. Super special guest this week, Mike Pitera. Thank you for joining the show. Welcome to the Pizza King podcast. Please introduce yourself to everybody. They know who you are, but introduce yourself so that we can formally get it done here.
Yeah. So first, thanks for having me. I love, following you and all you're doing. And this is just, this is going to be a fun afternoon. I can't wait.
Appreciate
My
you.
name is Mike Pitera. I'm with Pizza, Modo Mio. I'm located in Charleston, South Carolina. And we started out as a New York pizza shop. And now we offer 7 styles of pizza. So it's something I've always done since I was a kid, since I was 15. And I love it. I love this industry.
Hold on, bro. 7 styles of pizza?
Yeah, we do 7 now. Yeah.
Are you
It's crazy.
you just have this thing to torture yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm wearing a hat because I'm getting gray and I'm losing my hair a little bit. So I started wearing hats because I gotta hide it.
We'll send you a Pizza King hat too. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going through it. My son just reminded me this morning that
I need it.
it's not coming back as quick as it left.
That's right. That's right.
7 styles. What styles are you offering in addition to New York style?
Yeah. So we do the regular New York round and then we
Okay.
do grandma, we do Sicilian, we'll do Detroit, we do
Okay.
Chicago Tavern, we do Roman, and then we do gluten free.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's it like teaching those styles? And I know there's subtle differences between some of them,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you still have to really go in depth when it comes to training that.
Yeah.
How do you
So, everyone knows how crazy it is to find good help and people
Mhm.
that want to learn and want to follow in your footsteps and want to run with the craft. And it's very hard these days to find someone that's passionate like that. So I just simplify everything. I would say 5 of those doughs, I have a master dough for all of it.
Okay.
Because obviously I can't use my master dough on my Roman, but I have a master dough that I can do all 5 styles with it. And it's pretty much, I just bring them to the bench. I show them, on slow days, like for instance, Wednesday at 2:00, at 1:00, right before dinner and right after lunch, it's really the lull part of the business. I'll jump them on the bench and I just say, hey, you want to learn how to make pizza?
Yeah.
And really it takes one kid to say yes. And then they all want to follow because they all want to be a part of it and they all want to learn and they all want to be next to me and make the pizza and all that. So it becomes a thing. And it's really not that difficult, believe it or not. It's just they see the passion of it in me and how I enjoy doing it, how I love doing it, and how the final product comes out.
Yeah.
And like I said, all it takes is one person, it becomes very contagious. And then we just train everybody. But having that master dough is key. So I don't have to make
Helps to
5 different
simplify the
types of
process.
dough. That's right. I've learned that we have 4 locations. We're opening up our 3rd brick and mortar. Actually on Monday. On Monday we're opening up. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And through this whole period, I learned that you can be a pizza guy, but you have to be a businessman too, and you have to think both ways, right? I got
Right.
to think the quality, the quantity, how I can be putting out a great product as a pizza guy, different styles as a pizza guy, what makes us different as a pizza guy. But then on my business year, my businessman's year, now I got to say, hey, how am I going to simplify it? How am I going to keep it strategic enough where everyone can do it and streamline it and be able to grow? So I kind of be able to merge them two together to make it easier on the trainings and things
It
like that.
becomes difficult sometimes, especially when you like to try things.
Yes. Yeah, it does.
I
It can
find
get away
myself
from you really fast.
I find myself getting caught up in things that end up not mattering at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
My guy here, Andy's like, Tito, what problem are you trying to solve that doesn't need to be solved this week?
Right. It's true though.
Like I was thinking we could do fresh pineapples, but do we really need that?
Yeah, but you know what? You gotta, reinvent yourself sometimes and be different and do stuff. And like you said earlier, like whenever I'm very impulse, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. Like if I have an idea, zoom, I try to think of everything I could do, how to do it, when I can do it, why I want to do it, and it could be great because it could be you can get onto something and
Yeah.
expand what you want to do. But at the same time, like your employee said, does it have to be done now? Is it a problem that you have to solve now? Is it something that they do right now?
Not
Not always.
always. Not
No, not
always.
always. But it makes it fun, and it makes the kitchen fun to come into, where it's not like Groundhog's Day and the same thing over and over and over again.
I like it when my team comes back at the end of the week because it's usually just us, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're closed on Monday. And then Thursday, Friday, everyone starts to come back in after their couple of days off and they're looking to see what's different, what
Right,
changed,
right.
what's new this week, what are we doing? So
Yep,
I like that part of it because it keeps you interested in it.
it does.
It can get monotonous doing this every day for
Yeah,
years and years. Did you
yeah.
grew up making pizza?
Yeah, so I grew up I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and then I moved to Long Island, New York. So I grew up in a big Italian neighborhood in Brooklyn, and I grew up with like L&B Spumoni Gardens, Pizza Pizza Wagon, Joseph Avenue U, all these big destination shops that you would go
Yeah.
to, growing up eating that type of food. And then when I moved to Long Island, I had a couple best friends that I met when I moved out there when I was 15 years old, and their parents owned pizzerias. So my first job was washing dishes in a pizzeria.
Yeah.
And it was old school back then. You had the old men in the back. You had people that were just, didn't share recipes, and everything was all tight, and everything was like, hey, what Joe want throwing them down the block? Why do you come in here and grab a slice of pizza when he has his own pizzeria and all that type of stuff? So it was very, very, very old school. But I just grew up in that genre, that neighborhood. I grew up in that industry with
Yeah.
it being my first job. And then I started washing dishes. We were cheap labor for my friend's father. All his
Right.
friends came, and I got a free pizza and a Pepsi or a Coke, and I got a couple dollars of tips. And he was just loving it because he got for cheap labor, and I love it because I was hanging out with the adults.
Yeah, you're doing something your friends don't really get a chance to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty
So
cool.
that's how it all started, man. That's it. Just all it started from there, and then from that point, I just worked at other pizzerias, and I've always cooked like my whole life. Being involved with a family that loves to cook, we always congregated around the kitchen, and
Right.
again, that's just contagious. Everyone loves cooking. Nobody's ever in the living room, the dining room. Everyone's around the island or in the kitchen and eating and talking. So I've always loved to cook. So it was just something that I was always passionate about, and it just blended into working in a pizzeria and pizzeria restaurants and things like that.
Professionally, I think I read that you took a turn into the corporate world though for a little while, right?
Yeah. So all through high school, I worked at the pizzeria, and I had some like side hustles, side jobs. I had a DJ entertainment company as well. I had that for about 15 years. Um,
You're doing like parties and
And so
events.
it was actually I started doing sweet 16s and all that. Like all my friends, the girls that I was friends with, I did their sweet 16 parties and everything. And then I would do like the prom and all local stuff. And then as I got older, I started doing weddings. And then as I got older, 18 to 21 years old, I went on my own and bought a box truck, bought a van. I had an employees. I had about 10 employees. And we grew all the way up to 3 years ago, I sold my portion of the business, and we did 2,500 parties a year.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
That
that was
had
a
to be
side
fun
that
though.
was just a side hustle. We did a lot of stuff. We did big corporate events. We did, and weddings and parties up in New York are nothing like down here.
Yeah.
I mean, they are just 200, 250 plus people that are at weddings. They're spending 60, 70, 80,000 dollars weddings. It's a big production.
Yeah.
So we would do probably 2 or 3 weddings and private corporate events a weekend, and I did that for a long time as I was going to college, and I got out of the pizza business a little bit. I said, "You know what?" I said, "I have my business doing DJing. I still love it. I make pizza at home and all of that, and I would sub in for friends when somebody would call out if they needed somebody." But I was going to college. I had my DJ company, and then I said, what am I going to do? Cook for my entire life, on holidays. I went to culinary school. I left culinary school and then I went to regular university. So my mind was, I don't want to be in the kitchen my whole life at that point.
Yeah.
When it's Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving, I want to be my family. I don't want to be having to be open for business or cook in somebody's kitchen for that. I left, kept my DJ company as a side hustle, and I worked at Xerox, the copy machine company.
Nice. Were you
Yeah.
like working the territory, or
Yeah,
you
yeah.
doing
So
sales?
I worked in sales in Melville, Long Island. It was there's a big strip called 110, and it's big like industrial strip. And basically I graduated college and I was knocking on doors, making phone calls, just doing everything I could to get cold call sales, selling copiers to attorneys and doctors' offices and, anyone that needed to print, copy, or scan. That was my bit. How can I sell you a
God.
copier? And I did that for 15 years. And I worked all the way up to become a manager, to be a regional manager, and then I became the VP of sales.
Oh, you're leading the team at that point.
I was leading the team and the territory, and I was working in Manhattan at 7th Ave.
If you're a pet owner who wants real talk on training, behavior, and everyday life with animals, check out the Fresh Patch Podcast. Hosted by Drew and Gabe, we cover the wins, the challenges, and everything in between. So wherever you listen, search the Fresh Patch Podcast, where good pets get it.
Wow. So still covering an area while leading the team and training
Yeah, I
and
mean, it
helping
was
people hit their goals too.
yeah, straight corporate. I mean, I had to do interviewing, hiring. We had to do sales preparation. We had to do sales training. We had to build teams. So I had the New York. I pretty much had all of Long Island. I have had all the boroughs. So Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, New York City. I covered everything, and then I had about 50 employees under me that I was managing. So
I
it
just
was like
talked to that
a
sounds
lot.
crazy. I just talked to a guy a couple of weeks ago. It actually just released, but he talked about how his roots in hospitality and in the restaurant business really propelled him and gave him leverage in the corporate world because he knew how to talk to people. He knew how to spark
Yeah,
conversations or improvise and do all. He just learned so many skills. You feel the
yeah.
same way, like your background in the kitchen and it just in family businesses helped you excel in the corporate world.
I think that without that job, I wouldn't have been able to have the right tools to be where I am today.
Yeah.
I mean, corporate America is corporate America, right? I call it the golden handcuffs. You get paid really well. You have great benefits. You're getting that check every Friday,
Hmm.
and you're off on the weekends, and it's 9 to 5. But you're cuffed to them. Whatever they want, whatever they do, whatever and it's not a life that I wanted to live. But what I got out of it was structures, putting processes in place, learning how to create a sales team and creating morale between each other. Because you got to remember, morale to me is the most important thing to have in a kitchen and to have in any type of team environment. If you
Yeah.
don't have morale, then that morale is just going to tank. And nobody's going to want to work with each other. And the sales team is the same way. So there's a lot that I've learned. I've learned everything the way that I run my business. I've learned from corporate America. I'm super thankful for that because I think a lot of restaurateurs or business owners, what they can lack is one could be excellent as a chef, but terrible as back office and running the business. And one could be a money guy and know exactly how to pay the bills and invest and do what they need to do and watch that bottom number, but they can't even boil an egg, right? So what I feel is I have the best of both worlds where I cooked, I went to culinary school, I learned it growing up, I had a passion for it, and that's what I did first. And then I got all my real life, learning from working in corporate America. And I was lucky enough to bring those two together and understand how to treat employees, understand how to run a business because I was that employee, but
Yeah.
understand how I need to grow that business and what things I got to do and not do at the same time. So,
So when you decided that you'd had enough of the corporate life and you were going to get back into restaurants,
yeah.
is that the point that you decided that South Carolina was a move? How did that happen?
Yeah. So
No,
it's
that's
a
a
big
little
move.
ways. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
big
it's a
move.
big move. So up in New York, there was a lot going on during COVID. I was having a lot of stuff going on with me personally, and I wasn't happy with where I was. And, my family recently moved down to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. My
Okay.
brother moved down to Richmond, Virginia. Everyone pretty much moved out of New York, and I was the only one up there. And once COVID happened, New York just changed. Long Island changed. Just everything just changed so much. And I didn't want that. I wanted to start fresh. I wanted to start new. And I met a girl, my girlfriend. It was my wife now. Oh, she went to school down here. She loves South Carolina. My parents were down here. I wanted to be close to the family. So I said, you know what? Let's just get out of New York. Let's get out of here and move down south. You and I will start new, have a nice warm climate, and, see where it goes from there. And I had no vision of opening up a pizzeria, brick and mortar, or anything like that. What I did though is, if you ever look at my Instagram, if you ever look at my Facebook and stuff, I call it the jalopy. You're gonna see like an old beat up RV. Okay.
Is that how you started it?
That's how I started with my DJ company, right? COVID happened. New York shut down. You couldn't have any group gatherings, couldn't meet together, couldn't have any parties. I had people booking weddings that they called me, and I had to give them their full deposits back because the state said you can't get married in public anymore with people. So my DJ company was just like tanked. It was just like nobody can get together.
Yeah.
So I bought a hot dog truck, and it was an old 1970 RV that the guy converted into a hot dog truck. And people from up north, if you ever seen a hot dog truck, it's an RV with the side window with the big Sabarette umbrella on the outside, and you're getting dirty water dogs out of it. That's what I got, because New York allowed outside gatherings at one point. So I said, you know what? If I can't DJ, maybe I can do hot dogs or pizza or do something out of a food truck in an outside environment.
Yeah.
So I bought this truck for $3,000, and you have to go to my Instagram.
I'm going to find a picture
and
of
look
it.
at this picture of it. It's on my Instagram. It's just so ugly. It's horrible. I spray painted it. I roll painted it. I did all this thing to try to make it look good. And it sat on the side of my building where my DJ company was, in my warehouse. And then I moved down to Charleston. I said, I have to bring that down with me. I left the business, the warehouse. I want to bring the RV truck down, because down here, food trucks were blowing up. Everyone was eating out of a food truck in Charleston. They have all these HOA neighborhoods. You come every Friday, every Thursday, every Saturday, and you're cooking dinner for 200-300 houses, and people come and all that. And I wasn't used to that in New York. So I hired a transportation company to bring the truck down. And there it is. This old beat up thing rolls up to my apartment in Charleston. Everything's all nice, palm trees, brand new apartments. And you see this old, rusty, raggedy food truck come off this truck. And my neighbors that haven't even really met me yet, and they're like, who is this guy pulling in this
like
old
all
RV?
the New Yorkers here?
Man, it looked like the Griswolds, Christmas Vacation, that old RV. That's what it was. And the New Yorkers are here. They call them the Yankees. The Yankees are here.
The Yankees.
So now I'm stamped as a Yankee, and I'm ruining South Carolina now. So yes, I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. When I moved down to Charleston, I already had a job set up. So the job was, I was doing property management. I was doing a sales job. So I had that solidified. I was doing sales. I said, you know what? I said, why don't we try to make some pizzas out of this, out of our apartment complex that we were in? And I had 2 unis. I put the 2 unis inside the kitchen, and I did a pizza service for the first time ever. And it was the worst night ever. It was just terrible.
What went wrong?
What went wrong is I'm in Charleston with no air condition, with 2 uni ovens at 650 degrees,
Baking
with
in
95% humidity, baking. The inside was like 150 degrees. I almost got heat stroke twice. I was sweating so much that the flour would touch my arms. It would turn into dough. It was just a mess, man. And then I was like, what did I get myself into? Why did I ever think I could do something like this? And, a nice neighbor came with like a frozen pack and put it on my back, and I had to stop service. Like, I was seeing stars. It was just a debacle. It was just horrible. And then I said, you know what? I said, we could figure this out. And that's when it just like clicked with me. Like, to see everyone was so excited to get pizza from up north, that's when it clicked. And I said, okay, we really have to do something real this time. So I ended up selling it. I bought an ATV 8x16-foot trailer, and my father and I built a kitchen inside this big rectangle trailer. And we put a floor in.
You built it out yourself?
Yep, we built everything out ourselves. I put the make tables in. My dad ran the electric. We put the generator cord in. We did everything ourselves. And then I had a hitch on my truck, because I had a truck. And then that's where it all started, man. At the end of work, my girlfriend then would hook up the truck, and we'd say, okay, we're going to this neighborhood tonight. And this is probably 4 months moving into Charleston. When we're going to a neighborhood, we pop up our tent. Now it was all nice and clean. And we started doing pizza service. Within 8 months, 9 months, we opened up our first brick and mortar because everybody wanted to know where our store was, and we didn't have one.
Yeah.
Pizza down here didn't exist by selling by the slice. There was no garlic knots, strombolis. That wasn't a thing down here in Charleston. So when people from up north moved down here, they were missing bagels and pizza. And we were lucky enough to be able to provide that to them. That's what really kicked us off.
What was the menu like when you started? And was it just you and your girlfriend handling the full service?
Yeah, that's it. I didn't know anybody. It was just me and her. We didn't know anybody. We couldn't afford to pay anybody. Our menu consisted of 6 pizzas. It was cheese, our hot roni, meat lovers, white, and a margarita. And we did 5 pizzas. No, sausage, peppers, and onions. We did 6 pizzas. That's it. And we priced it out. Whatever we made, we made. When we sold out, we sold out.
Nice.
My wife, she had no idea what she was doing at first because she didn't work in a pizzeria, but she worked the register and wrote the tickets and gave them to me. But I had to make pizza. I had to put it in the oven, take it out, cut it, make another pizza. So I was the line. I was everything.
The
And
whole
again, we were
line.
just learning. Yeah, we were learning. It was just, we were making it happen. We had to make do.
Were you still running the unis at that time, or had you changed
No,
ovens?
it was the trailer that we had a tailgate that came down. It would actually come down. So what we did is we put 2 stanchions and metal, what are they? Like metal legs, posts that would
Okay.
come down, and the door became a platform. And what I put out there, I moved the ovens outside because I learned not to have the ovens inside. So we moved the ovens outside, and I actually used the Blackstone rotating oven.
Dude, I love that oven.
It's my favorite. And they
I
don't make
love
the old ones, they don't make anymore. The dome,
Yeah.
I had 2 of them. And you'll see that on my Instagram too. I had 2 Blackstones, so I didn't have to worry about having a oven guy rotating the pizzas.
So you're doing like 14, probably doing 14, 16?
Yeah, that's right. We were doing like 12, about 14-inch pies.
Yeah. I mean, you could do 16, but it's pretty tight in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, we do 14, and I threw it in, and then it would rotate it. I can throw a second one in. By the time I threw in the second one, the first one was done. I would take it out, cut it. By the time I cut that and boxed that and put the ticket on it, the second one would be ready. So I took that out, and then I had to do 2 again. So it was 2, 2, and 2. Make it, bake it, and then bag it up, and then box it up. Yeah, it was hard. Pizza truck is not easy, man. I mean, there's so much risk in it. You show up to a neighborhood, you prep up for, they say, oh yeah, we have 150, 200 houses here. They all love your pizza. They're going to come. You show up and 10 people come, you just work 3-4 hours for $60.
Did you guys have nights like that early on?
Oh yeah, all time. If it rained, forget it. If it rained, nobody wants to leave their house. Nobody wants, because we would meet in a common area where like the neighborhood pool is and the parking lot and stuff. And no one would come out. Or the worst is usually there's your point of contact per neighborhood. She volunteers or he volunteers herself to say, okay, I'm going to run the food truck calendar. I'm going to book the food trucks and let my neighbors know. If you get a lazy promoter, you'll have people say, oh, I didn't even know you were coming because they didn't do their job.
Yeah.
And then you're just wasting a lot of
promoters
time.
are everything. My wife's funny.
Yeah.
She's like on the list for all of the neighborhoods around here. So she knows where the trucks are going.
Yeah, so
in all of the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we do the same thing.
So there were so many factors that were out of my reach that I couldn't control. People at first didn't know who I was. I was one of the first pizza trucks around here from New York. I just started my social media and all that. I didn't have a following of social media in Charleston for me to say, hey, I'm at this neighborhood and all that yet.
Yeah.
So I depended on people like that. And if they didn't do their job, my dough's tossed. I can't, it's not like I had a walk-in. It's not like I had a full restaurant. I had a commissary kitchen that I rented. I had a small little double door fridge that I would keep my stuff in, prepare for each event or party I was doing. And then if I didn't sell through all that went to waste.
Jeez, that's
It's
so
hard.
risky. So
Hard.
now as you're moving, you're going neighborhood to neighborhood, you're seeing some success, you're having some tough times.
Yeah.
But then that leads you to brick and mortar. How do you decide where you need to be based on, you've been doing things all over town, it sounds like, or at least all over a part of town.
Right.
How do you decide where you need to be and, to take that risk? Because that's almost a bigger gamble than moving from New York to Charleston.
It is. It is. And that is actually what helped me also. And I was so happy that we started a food truck because of that. So think about it. If I didn't have the food truck and I opened up a brick and mortar, that only 10-mile radius or whatever it is knows a 5-mile radius, whatever it is going to know where I am. Right. Now I'm building a name for myself, driving to everybody all throughout Charleston. I was in Daniel Island. I was in Mount Pleasant. I was in Point Hope. I was in West Ashley, Somerville, all these towns. So I was able to get the name out a lot faster. Who is this New York pizza guy? People, when they see me out, it's so funny. You're that New York pizza guy. I go, yeah, I'm a New York pizza guy. But that's how it started. I was able to jump around to so many areas that we were able to get the name out. So the way that we found our first location is we bought a house
Okay.
and it's in West Ashley, a really nice area, nice family area and whatnot. And it was down the road from a shopping center. And there was a soup and sandwich shop that didn't look like they were doing really well. And my wife and I, we were like, you know what? Do we want to do this? Do we want to stop doing the food truck? Everyone's asking where our store is. Do we want to do this? And at the time, I had a great salary. I was all set. She had a salary, still working in Manhattan, but working remotely. And I said, I'm going to have to quit my job if we do it. There's no way I'm going to be an absentee owner. I'm a control freak as it is, and I need processes. I need things done right. And I can't just open up a pizzeria and tell these people what to do because no one knows what to do out here. They don't know pizza. They don't know how to cut a pizza. They don't know how to hand stretch. They're using presses. They're using flats that's already pre-baked and all these things. I said, I'm going to have to be there. So it was one day I was coming home from work and my wife said, go grab a sandwich and soup at the place. She got a tomato soup and a grilled cheese. And I went in, I got it. There was nobody there and the food
Yeah.
wasn't that great and nothing against them. They were great people, but it just wasn't working. And I just casually asked, I just said, hey, by any chance, if you're ever thinking about selling, I might be interested in maybe taking over the lease. I was spitballing an idea of opening up some pizza and stuff like that. I went home that night. They called me and they said, hey, were you serious? I said, yes. I said, I'm serious. And I just said it.
Yeah.
Like I was still in the loop of, hey, am I going to open up a brick and mortar? Am I going to do it? Maybe I shouldn't have opened my mouth. Like, damn, like, what am I going to
Something
do?
made that phone ring though.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just said, hey, I think the reason why I said it is because I was assuming they were going to say no. I was assuming I was going to hear from them. I said it just to say it, right? Because I was interested, but not really thinking they were going to call me back. And that night, man, they called me and that's it. It was just like, all right, let's have a conversation. We struck up a deal. And then 30 days later, there I am owning a sandwich and soup shop that we closed down. I kept my job. I didn't tell my job what I was doing. And then instead of working, I was still doing pizza after work. But when I was done with that,
Go
after my
work on
dinner
the shop.
shift, I went to the shop and we started gutting everything out.
Did you guys build that out on your own too?
We build everything out. My father was like a general contractor, so I learned a lot from him growing up. I'm very hands-on with everything. My father always said, learn the value of a dollar and why pay for someone to do something when you can do it yourself and learn. And that's how I've always lived my life. So if I didn't know how to do something, I'll learn how to do it and then I'll do it myself.
You're like the creative player on 2K. Like we would make the guy 6'9" and make him strong, make him fast. You got the right set of skills.
Yeah,
Sales,
that's right.
you DJ'd, construction. You could do you were made
I
for
had
this.
a crazy life, man. People that know me, they say Mike doesn't ever stop. He just goes. When you have a home, I can't sit still. If for instance, like if right now, after we get off this call, like what do I have to do? I mean, I'm opening up a new store. I'm going to be running over there and doing some stuff, but I can't sit on a couch. I just can't. I have to be doing something. I have like ADD when it comes to that. So it's just, I don't know. I think knowledge is power, man. I think the
Yeah.
more you know and the more you get involved with things and the more you do things, the more successful you'll be in life. And I'm just thankful I believe everything happens for a reason. I never thought I'd come down to Charleston. I never thought I'd meet my wife and open this business. I would never ever think that I would have 4 locations and 3 brick and mortars. Like you would have spoken to me 4 years ago, because we've only been open for 4 years. I would have laughed at you and said, no way I would be ever doing anything like this. So are you crazy? And I just think that honestly, man, I think God works in mysterious ways. And I think that, I'm a religious guy. I'm not over religious, but I think that issues arrive and problems arise for reasons, for you to
Hmm.
overcome it, for you to become stronger, and for you to be able to pass it and become successful. And I had my challenges and I had my struggles, earlier in life. And I think because of that, it made me who I am today and the businessman I am today. And I'm thankful for all of it. I really think that everything happens for a reason.
I love that. I love that. And, I agree with you 100%. You just said something that spoke to me. Knowledge is power. And I saw, pictures from a couple of weeks ago. You guys are up at Pizza U. You're
Yeah.
learning Roman style in Vito's class with Leo. What's it like, even with your experience and your background, continuing to sharpen your skills? You also compete. I see the U.S. Pizza Team shirt on. You
Yeah.
also compete. You also, give back to the pizza community. How do you continue to motivate yourself and learn new things and grow as a leader and an operator?
I just think I like to be involved and network with as many people as possible. I'm very, very outgoing, which helps a lot. I talk to everybody. But I think that, like I said earlier, like I don't want to live that Groundhog Day. I've
Yeah,
seen it. I've seen the guys in the pizzeria dread to put that key in the door, open it, and say, shit, we got to make dough again today. We got to make regular pizza today. We got to do this. I'm tired of it. I never wanted to be that person. I wanted to be able to two things. One, I want to be able to learn as much as I can so I can have fun with it and always be excited to come in and try something new. Like the Roman dough, Vito, I'm, very close with Vito and he's been my mentor and I've been learning Roman dough with him over the past year. And I've
yeah.
been competing with it and doing stuff with it. And I went up to the class, to support him and help him. But also I'm, I learned something while I was there too, that you're always learning every day. If you think that you know everything, then you don't. I know you don't.
You,
It's just
you just don't.
you don't. I don't care who you are. And there's a lot of famous, amazing pizzaiolo out there. They're still learning, and why are they so popular and they're so knowledgeable? Because they're learning every day. Not everybody knows everything. So I just think that why limit yourself as an individual to short what you're going to do in your career or whatever it is. That's one reason. The second reason is I want to be able to provide you know, as much as I can and be different and diversified with my pizzeria. I want people to come in and say, wow, I can have a Roman slice of pizza. I've never had that before. I have to go to Rome for that. It's not here in Charleston. I never had a Chicago tavern thin crust before. I've loved Detroit. I went there once, but I was never able to find it. Like, I want to create a memory and an experience to my customers. I want when they, and I'm very passionate about this. So if I talk too much, sorry, but I'm just, when somebody bites on a piece of pizza, I want to be able to transport them back to some type of memory or something that they remember. And
Yeah,
that is my goal when I'm building these shops and I look at everything. I look at the decor when people walk in, like my first location. I have the whole timeline of New York City on how it evolved and how it was built. I have certain items that you'll find in New York and Jersey in there. And when people come in, you see them standing there looking at the wall and like reminiscing and learning and looking and bringing them back. And then when they eat the pizza, like, wow, I remember what it tastes like. This is great. Like that's my goal to be a storyteller through
yeah.
my pizza and be able to, have a memory for them. So that's the second reason why I want to continue learning because it's not just ingredients. It's not just non-bromate, non-bleach, like everyone's saying, and have to do this, you have to do that. There's so much more to learn and to sharpen your skills to give yourself the knowledge and give your customers a better experience. And that's the main reason why I do it.
I love it. I love it. I learned a lot just being on the other side of the table at the, competitions here in Orlando as a judge, first time judge, never competed, but I walked away with just a ton of knowledge and just from seeing all the different styles, all of the different competitors, how the judges really asked questions, gave feedback. One of my favorite things about the pizza community is that openness and that willingness to push the whole genre forward.
Yeah.
And to me that's fun. I saw
Yeah.
you. I met you. I think I met you for the first time in Atlanta, and
Yes.
to me that was an incredible experience because it wasn't about anything other than going there to get better and learn something new
Right.
and network and meet people. And
Right.
that's pretty
Right.
cool.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's what it's all about. I mean, it took me a while to figure that out because being from New York, you got your guard up a lot.
Yeah.
Especially working in a pizzeria, you have your guard up a lot, and nobody's sharing recipes, nobody's sharing trade secrets and things to do. So I was always, before I joined the team or had this brick and mortar, when I had the pizzeria, I had my guard up here, and I was like, I wasn't part of that pizza community. And then I found out what the pizza community was all about, and how it wasn't like those old days anymore, and how there's a U.S. pizza team and a world pizza champions, and how there's um, these big pizza shows and all this stuff. Like, that's what really opened my eyes. Like, wow, this is an amazing community of people that don't care about talking about it, and they just want to better each other. And like in Atlanta, or coming down to LA or Orlando, or Pizza Expo, it's so cool going to these things, because they say, "Hey, I seen you, or we were talking, and we talked last year, and how's it going?" And it's such a cool community. It's like, I look forward to those things.
Yeah. And well, you come a long way if you were a non-participant, because I go to the shows now and you're like, I think I seen you on the microphone, then I see you
Yeah.
competing, and then I see you do it like
Well,
you're
now you know why I'm on the microphone, because I had a DJ production company.
now it makes sense.
That's why.
But I can see that given what you can to whatever you can to make it better, to create that experience. So,
Yeah.
being able to get a closer seat and understanding how everyone works together, even when it's like, hey, dude, we need somebody to jump in here. Can you do it? I've seen guys from, talk to Rico, and he had to jump in and speak for someone. And,
Right.
I think for you were,
Yeah.
I think you were out. Did you have surgery or something like that?
Yeah. So it was about social media. I did it at the LA show, and I was supposed to do it at the Orlando show. And in November, I had rotator cuff surgery and my torn bicep repaired.
Ouch.
So I have 2 more weeks of PT. Yeah. Yeah. So
Jeez.
yeah, so that was a nightmare with these past 2 months, but I couldn't
What
come
were you
down to the
doing?
show. You really want to know?
Yeah.
So it was my 40th birthday in August. I went down to the Bahamas, just me and my wife. And when you go to these resorts, either it's the cruise line, or it's the Bahama Mama, whatever it is, they have that wave where you go on the boogie board, you stay in one place and the water comes down.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to do that. So I did it. And the guy's telling me to do all these tricks. I had to follow him and do all these tricks and stuff like that. And I see these kids next to me, and they're doing all this crazy stuff. And I think I'm like 20 years old again. I go, I could do that. So I started doing it. I'm like, yeah, I thought I was all hot shit, like I can do it. I can do it. And then, and then the guy said, okay. The guy said, do it 360. I said, okay. And you got to put your arm out, and then you got to now that water's coming at you at like 200 miles an hour to,
I
for you
see
to
it.
stay in place. So I put my arm out, and as soon as I put my arm out, my whole shoulder went back. I flipped, I hit the back wall, and my shoulder from the top to my fingertips was just all pins and needles. I tore all my nerves, and I actually tore rest of my rotator cuff just by that water. So now the next 3 days of my birthday down in the Bahamas, I'm sitting there not being able to do anything, and then I got scanned, and that's it. Torn bicep tendon and my rotator cuff.
40 caught you real fast.
Yep, real fast. Happy birthday. Thinking I was cool on this boogie board. Meanwhile, I got a rotator cuff, and I'm out for 3 months. It was horrible.
My kids love to remind me that I'm not as young as I used to be. But that's pretty cool. I watched them do it. I've never tried it.
It's fun. It was
my
great.
son is great. Like, I watch him do it. He's all over it. But I'm like, nah. Looks like a couple of days off for me.
That's another thing you got to worry about when you own a business. Like, you can't do things like this anymore, because if you get hurt, you're screwed. I mean, I'm lucky that I have an amazing crew. I have amazing staff, and I'm always praising them. Without them, I'd really be nothing. And they were able to step up and, think about it. I'm an owner operator. I'm not just an owner where I sit home.
Right.
I operate. I'm there making pizza, and now I'm tied up with shoulder surgery in a sling for 8 weeks. Then when I'm out of the sling, I have PT for 2 months. I mean, it was scary. It was really, really scary. But you can't do these things anymore. You just gotta walk around with a bubble around you and just be careful.
Yeah, you got to protect the brand here. You're the quarterback, man. You got the red jersey on. Don't hit them too hard.
No, it's horrible. So how did I want to hear about you a little bit. Like, how did you get in this, man? How did you get started in pizza, and what's your history?
So I started on the corporate side of pizza at Little Caesars in Michigan, Lansing, Michigan.
Okay.
Just needing a job, really, more than anything. It was around the corner from my house. I used to walk there, and they just hired me. Everyone, I was like the assistant manager, but everybody was the assistant manager at Little Caesars. In real life, I made dough and I washed dishes, and
Okay.
I had a lot of fun there. I stayed there for maybe about a year and a half before I moved to Florida. I moved here to Tampa or Riverview, just outside of Tampa, and there's a little pizzeria across the street. Same thing. I still didn't have a car. I'm 21. Walking across, I applied like to everything in the public center. There was to date myself, I also applied. So I applied to West Shore Pizza, but I also applied to Radio Shack and Hollywood Video the same day.
No way.
So thank goodness the pizza shop called me, because neither one of those other brands even exist anymore. So that's how old I am. But they had a pizza box in the window just hiring, and
Right.
I'm like, shit, I worked at Little Caesars. I was the assistant manager, but I'd never we had the sheeter, we had pans. I never stretched a pizza.
Right.
Everything was very systemized, very organized in Little Caesars. And I came to work at a West Shore, and it was, very much so a mom and pop. It's New York style. We call it Philly style because the boss, the founder's from Philly, but it's New York style pie.
Right.
So, they taught me everything, and really got close to the founder and owner, Bobby Bassatoro, who just tucked me right under the wing, man, and taught me everything about this business, gave me tons of opportunity, helped me get into my first store, 23 years old.
Wow.
So, since then it's been, now 8 locations, over those years.
So you have 8
2003.
locations?
No, I've had 8. This is the 8th one that I've had.
Wow.
At the peak, I think we were 3 locations, but I've just been able to just learn this business, work on all these stores. I helped him on the corporate side for 13 years,
Wow.
opening restaurants, writing the training manuals. We didn't have anything. We didn't have an ops manual. We didn't have training guides. We just had to build it all.
Yeah.
And it's been a lot of fun. Just
Yeah.
kind of learning in a different way. We literally didn't even have, the blueprint to doing it. I had a Subway. Somebody gave me a Subway ops manual, and I just changed sandwich to pizza on all the specs while we figured it out. And then later we caught like a Papa John's manual, but eventually we learned all those things as we were opening locations.
That's awesome.
Because it was tough to grow. He was franchising, but we didn't really know what franchising was. We were just opening stores, and he was cutting deals with all the softball buddies and around town. But, West Shore grew pretty quickly up to like 52, 53 locations pre-COVID.
Whoa.
Yeah, a lot of stores closed. Turns out maybe you do have to vet people before you put them into business.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to understand their background, their financial capabilities.
Right.
But a lot of lessons learned for myself and the guys that were just on that team of just training and opening and helping folks get started. Spent my time on the corporate side. I went to Fuzzy's Taco Shop for a few years as a franchise business consultant. So I traveled the region. I literally covered from Baton Rouge, Louisiana to Charlottesville, Virginia. So the whole Southeast, 20, 30 restaurants, opened a bunch of stores in a few years for them. Spent a few years on the corporate side with Checkers and Moe's. So I got to learn.
So that's good. You got the corporate side of it too.
I got the corporate side of things.
Yeah.
And it helped me really understand how important people were to all of these processes. Like everything we did was dependent on how we were training, how we were developing, how we continue to, add and build to our team and build depth in our bench. So spending that time there, I worked for a large franchise group, Pizza Hut, 104 locations. So, a bunch of experience, but throughout all of that, we always had a pizzeria. We just didn't, I had a partner. We didn't have a pizzeria that could support both of us. So it was do my corporate job during the day or during the week and help out here at home in the pizza shop on the weekends. Until we could afford to have us both there. And then we finally caught that after COVID. It was like really learning what was important. I spent a ton of time away. I was traveling a lot. I was getting on a plane on a Monday, come back home on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Working a pizzeria all weekend. I was missing so much just with my family, with my kids. And then it was, till you made that decision, like, okay, maybe it's worth more to take less and stay here and not chase that dollar and, just build our business. You cannot. I tell this story. My youngest son was like, they draw pictures. They're school age. I got 13-year-old to 11-year-olds, but at the time they're, drawing pictures. They're first grade, second grade, and they would draw family pictures and I wasn't in them. And it was like, damn, where's daddy? Well, daddy, you're in Mississippi or you're in Louisiana. You're at work. And I'm
Right.
like, that was tough for me. So,
Yeah.
kind of hung up that corporate role, which was great. It was fun. I enjoyed the travel. We had a lot of perks that the family benefited from, with as far as airline points and hotel nights and free rental cars
Right.
and all the things that come from the corporate grind, but I missed a ton of time.
Yeah.
So now, life's a little bit slower, but I can be at every soccer practice. I can go to every game. I
Yeah.
can, I'm here in the shop now, but I'll be there when it's time to pick the kids up from school.
That's right.
I'll handle everything in my house is 3 minutes from here.
Yeah.
So
It's
like,
perfect.
I just love that situation. And, being a learner, being someone who was I always said yes, even before I knew what the hell to do. And then I figure it out. So
Yeah.
Bob's like, you know how to write a manual? Like, yep. Nope.
Yep. You figure it
So then we
out.
figure it out, and then we do it, and we just learn how to make it better. We started working on specs, we started building it, and thankfully, I had that time on the corporate side. So I always tell folks I went from dishwasher to franchise owner, in whatever amount of time, but I had a lot of experience on the way and a lot of opportunities to just say yes to things and try it out. Sometimes we fail. A lot of times we failed. I bought stores that didn't make it. Like, I've had to close those doors. I've built stores. I've bought stores. I've, all of it over time, but it's all led us to where we are right now. And, I started a podcast just because I had some lessons, some leadership things that I was working on. I wanted to get it out.
I like
And
that.
Bruce Irving really pushed me to do it. Yeah, I'd been on his show a couple of times, and he's like, T, you got to start talking about your leadership stuff on a podcast. I was traveling back with my corporate job, and I had a GM at my store, but I wanted to communicate with him and in a way to help him think like me, see the things I was seeing. So we just
Right.
started like a morning email chain. I give him a little motivation. I give him a prompt for the day. Let's focus on this. And it became like my first book that we published. And it's just something that we built on, over time. It's been, I don't know, 7 years now that we've been doing this, and
That's awesome.
led to the podcast and doing all those different things. So, I'm in a different spot in the business, but I have the same goals, which is make it better, push it forward. I'm all about people. I'm all about developing leaders. That was the biggest lesson that Bob taught me was, it doesn't matter what we do, because he had pizza shops. We also had a movie theater and a coffee shop and all these different things. He goes, see, it don't matter what we sell. We're in the people business.
That's right.
We're in the business of nurturing relationships. So if you take care of people, people will take care of you. And I am 1000% a believer in that and a product of that.
Mm-hmm.
I've had so many chances to not be here just based on the mistakes that I've made. So I'm forever grateful, and I'm just trying to give it back whatever I can. And that's why we do this. Like, I just
Right.
talk about the experience and try to help somebody else make a better decision than I
And you're
did.
going to help people because somebody has been through what you've been through, someone who has been through what I've been through. And
Yep.
when they see people that have been down or failed and they've rediscovered themselves and fixed the issues and all that, I really feel that puts a thing in their mind saying, you know what, it is possible. Look at this person. That's how I see it. When I hear stories of something happen, I mean, I hate to say this, but I actually enjoy seeing people fail and then fix the situation and they become super successful because it gave me hope to
Yeah.
see, hey, you failed at this point. Everyone fails, right? You overcame that, you fixed it, you adjusted, and now look at you. You're the cream of the crop, right? So I enjoy listening and watching podcasts and reading stuff like that because I know whatever I go through, even to today, even opening up the new location, I'm going to fail at something. Something's going to screw up, but I know someone else has been through it and then I can learn from them. So I know how to do it better next time. So I think
Absolutely.
that's awesome to do a podcast like this and have people watch and learn. I mean, again, it all comes back to learning. We're learning every single day.
And still to this day, still learning, still growing, still just trying to figure out a way to make it better without breaking what's already there.
Right. Right.
That's what we're on. And I love pizza. That's the other part of it, is I just love pizza.
Yeah.
So I'm here, we're trying pizzas. I'm making different things. They won't let me tinker too much with the menu, but
Right.
I can do what I want behind the scenes.
Yeah,
Andy,
man. When you
Andy's
get
like, T,
pee.
don't go making any of that wet dough again. Calm down. Like, stop making that wet shit. Like, the dough's not broken. Don't mess with it. I'm like, I
So
saw
what type
something.
of ovens do you use?
So funny, well, my camera's kind of fixed. So I have right now we're using the conveyor, the edge. Dude,
Oh, you are?
I bought this shop in, last month, about 7 weeks ago. And it's got a conveyor. We got a blodgett on top, a deck on top of it.
Really?
I have not turned the deck on,
It's a
not
gas or
once.
electric?
It's gas.
Gas. Okay.
I have not turned it on. I'm
Wow.
running. Once we got it dialed in, and the conveyor was burning the cheese a little bit.
Okay.
But I talked to my buddy George, and he helped me kind of dial back first I needed to know like what speed and time and temp should I be running on this,
It's
and
not
then
George Taylor, is it?
not George Taylor, George Clark. I love George Taylor though. I do love George Taylor.
Because he's got a conveyor, so I'm just curious if it was him.
And now that I know, I should have called him too. But it was like, how do I dial this in? I know guys are making New York style and conveyors. So once we figured that out and the pizza started to come out the way we wanted, because they were like running them through fast and finishing them on the deck
Right.
just to get them
Okay.
brown and crispy. And it's like, dude, let's figure out if we can make this better, make it more simple. So I got a deck, but I'm not using it. It hasn't been on in 5 weeks.
Yeah. Well, if you have it dialed in, then there's no reason for it.
Yeah.
Save the gas and save the heat in the kitchen.
Save the heat. We did turn it on because we dropped down to like 30 degrees 2 weeks ago, and they turned the deck on just to warm the kitchen up a little bit.
Yeah.
We haven't cooked it, and I got like big catering this week, so we'll be
That's
running
good.
lasagnas and spaghettis through it. But
Nice.
man,
So you have a whole catering menu also.
yeah, it's something that we're kind of putting in and trying to dial in. It's an opportunity for us. I saw that deck, and I'm like, dude, we can sell a lot of pizzas fast.
Yeah.
And how do we do it? And then we start putting out feelers. My partner's really involved in the community, which I want to touch on with you too. He's really involved in the community. So he starts getting with all these PTAs and all these church groups and all these teams and all this stuff. And then everybody wants something. So we're doing
Right.
like 10-inch pizzas for the softball field so they can sell at concessions. We're
Right.
doing a bunch of big thing for this church down the road. So the catering has really kind of become a competitive advantage for us here and will continue to grow. It's helped us, 1 month in, we didn't lose anything. So I'm happy. And thankfully it was catering that did it. It's a money maker
catering's
without the
huge.
labor.
We started doing catering and it was game changing, especially like we did it right before Christmas and the holidays. So you had all these office parties and stuff like that were ordering trays of food. And it was something that I wasn't sure if I was going to get into because I don't have I don't have a kitchen in any of my pizzerias. We don't have stovetops. We don't have flat tops. We have oven, nothing. We have no kitchen. It's all pizza. It's all pizza ovens that we use and prep tables and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I had to figure out a way to do it, but we figured out a really good way to do it. And it was a game changer for business wise, for be able to offer catering and offer something other than just pizza.
Yeah.
You diversified yourself.
Yeah, I think it's huge, especially when you can execute it. For us, it was really figuring out the sales cycle and the communication. I've been learning a lot. Thankfully, COVID just opened the internet up and opened up so much education. And I've been learning about just sales and, sales funnels and follow up and automation. And we wanted to take that same approach with the catering. And I talked to Rick Gruber, and he really planted that seed for me. Like, dude, we're the fastest to follow up. We're the fastest to get, proposals out and quotes done. And, we can do the whole setup for you. So we've been trying to, adopt that same approach here where it's you put an inquiry in, someone's getting back to you in 30 minutes. It's like automated though. You're going to get an automated response, but I'm going to get the alert. I'm going to call you back. We're going to see what you need. We're going to get a quote out fast. We're just going to try to solve it as quickly as we can, which helps us here because we're still in transition mode. So I'm not like hiring more people yet. I'm not really marketing anything yet outside of to our loyalty members. So that gave us a chance to make a little bit of money without stressing over having to grow and pay the bills just yet.
Right. That's awesome. That's exciting, man.
It's exciting. It's a lot of fun. So I'm enjoying it.
Very cool. Man. I wish you the best of luck. I think that's great. That's so awesome.
Tell us the best thing that you've learned that you can pass on to somebody else.
That's a good one because I learned a lot. But I would say the best thing that I've learned is it's just so cliche, but it hits me so hard and it's so true. Just run with it. And if you have a passion for something, if you want to do something, just take the chance and do it. Don't wait. I waited a long time and, I'm the happiest I've ever been being in this industry and being in pizza and working with customers and mentoring, my employees. And I wish I did it a lot sooner, but there's always that sense of fear that puts you back, that sense of comfortability. And you say, oh, I'm comfortable. Everything's great. I'm not going to do it. Why should I do it? There's no reason. But, what I've learned is by me taking that risk and failing and then becoming successful and back and forth, right? If I had never took that risk and really went for it, I don't know where I'd be right now. I'd probably be still in New York. I'd probably still be in a suit and tie in 30-degree weather on the train platform, waiting to go into Manhattan, miserable. It's just take a risk. Without any risk, there's no reward. And if it's something that you're really passionate about, and if you have the drive to do it, because you will wake up one day when you're 60, 70, 80 years old and said, shit, I wish I did something different in my life. And you're not going to be able to do that. So I think the biggest thing that I've learned out of all of my ventures that I'm getting into between pizza making and, selling my sauce and selling my dough and all these other things that I'm doing, I wouldn't have thought about doing that if I didn't take a risk to do it and to see where it would go. And I think I'm a better person. I think I'm a better businessman because of it. Yeah, just go for it. Don't have any regrets. Just do it and work hard, and it'll happen.
Absolutely. Dude, there's so many layers to you. We hadn't even touched on the dough and the sauce and how you're expanding the brand. We could probably go another hour. So that all that means is that you got to come back. We
Yeah,
got to do
man, I
something.
love to come
You're going to
back.
be in Vegas?
I am. I'm going to be in Vegas. I'm working at the Marifoni booth. I'm an ambassador for Marifoni.
Okay.
So I'll be cooking with University there with Galbani.
Okay.
I'll be cooking at the Galbani booth, and with my dough company, Diorio, I'll be making pizzas and showcasing my dough there and that. So I'll be working at all three booths. And I'm signed up for competition, but I'm going to be so busy. Let's see
You
if
like,
I can.
you like pain. I was going to say, let's sit down, but you have no time.
No, let's sit down. I'll make time.
I'll be at the Perfect Crust booth. But
Good. I'm going to be there too.
yeah. So just, hit me up and
Yeah.
we'll sit down and do something. I'll be
I
there.
would love that.
We'll
Yes.
set up and talk, but dude, you got a lot of layers to you. I wanted to also talk about you did like
Yeah. Pizza Club. Yeah.
Pizza Club.
Yeah, man.
You're one of the first. I've seen people talk about it. I have not seen anybody actually put it out there and put it
Yep.
into action.
Yep.
You ran with that. Tell me before we
I
go,
did.
at least just tell us how that went.
So it wasn't what I expected.
Okay.
And I'm learning. So that there's more learning. People love the idea. They love that it was $5.99, get a pizza every week. Pizza Club. I had these nice cards made, and I sold a couple of subscriptions, and those customers come in once a week and they grab their pizza. We punch their card, and that's it. The problem that I had was I did it right before Christmas.
Okay.
And I thought it would be a cool gift for people to buy for one another and people to buy for the beginning of the year, because I wanted to start it in January and end in December. So I had to start it in a year. But after I put it out, how of a necessity is it to spend $600 on pizza, right?
Or
For your
at
family,
Christmas time, yeah.
right before Christmas, buying gifts, buying food from when people come over, all these things. And then, at the end of the year, January, February, nobody spends any money, right? Because they spent all their money in Christmas. So I've learned that I don't think it was a good idea to do it at that time of the year.
Okay.
And maybe I should start it mid-year, where people get their tax money back. People can recover from the holiday. And now it's the beginning of a summer. The kids are out of school. Let's be part of the Pizza Club. They're more inclined to buy a Pizza Club. But with that being said, I did sell subscriptions.
Yeah.
People love it. People love the idea. It's beneficial for both sides of the party. But I just think that I have to pick a better time of the year to sell it for people to have the fun.
I think that mid-year is great because you got a automatic upsell. Start your subscription now.
Yeah.
And get pizza for the end of the year, through the end of the year, plus all of 2027.
Right.
If you start in, get it July, and maybe you give them like 50% off, and add the rest of this year and get all of next year for one price. Then it becomes like a no-brainer.
So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm punching the half a year, and it'll be a half year subscription. And then they can use it for the following year. But it's a great concept. I was talking to a guy at Atlanta. That's where I learned about it. There was a guy that I met at Atlanta at the forum, pizza forum. And but I put it into play, and it was great. The customers that I had that have it are stoked. They get their pizza every week. And I think it's going to be good that people know that we do that. So now the word's out. I think it would have a better following then. So
yeah,
it was good.
Hey,
it's something different.
You don't try, you don't learn.
That's right. Exactly right, man.
Hey, tell us where they can find you, where they can learn more. I'll post all of the links, but tell us where to
Yeah.
follow you and Pizza Modo Mio.
So on Instagram, it's Pizza Modo Mio, PizzaModomio. On Facebook, it's Pizza Modo Mio SC for Charleston, South Carolina. And on Instagram, on TikTok, it's Pizza Modo Mio as well.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
go check him out. He's got good content. I
Yeah.
like how you do. So you're not nervous on camera.
No, I love it.
You talk in the car and
Yeah,
one of the things I like, now I sound like you, I liked about you being heard and being out was that you talked a lot.
I do.
And you went live a lot and you just opened up, and
I do.
I feel like I got to know you
Yeah.
just watching those videos. So,
But that's the point, right? You want to
Yeah.
buy, I want to buy from someone that I feel like I know, I can trust, somebody that I can relate to. I want people to know, like, this isn't a facade. This is me. This is who I am. You either like me or you don't like me. I'm a very real dude. I'm a very passionate dude. And it's just that you see what you get. And I like to just showcase that and share it. And hopefully people see the good side of me and what I'm about. And if they want to follow and come in, they do.
I love it. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
Keep killing it. Good
Yeah,
luck on
thanks,
a new
brother.
store.
Appreciate you.
I'm wishing you nothing but success, brother. Thank you.
Same
for
to you.
joining
And
us.
with your store too, man. A few weeks in, you're going to crush it. I know you are. With that
Yeah, man.
mentality and your hustle and your drive, I wish you nothing but the
We're
best. man.
already successful, bro. I'm good. We're going to be
love it.
okay.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you. If you've gotten any value out of this episode or any of our other episodes, I need you to do me a favor. Go leave us a review. Every review on Apple, every 5-star rating on Spotify helps this show find more operators just like you and helps them get that same value that you're taking away from this episode. And as a thank you, anytime somebody leaves a review, sends me a screenshot, just DM me a screenshot of your review, I'm going to send you a free gift, something awesome, something cool. I'll send you a gift, whoever leaves a review. That's the challenge. Go leave a review, DM me a screenshot of it, and then I'll get you something. I got you something special from your boy. Now let's get back into the episode. Peace.